Hello everybody, welcome to ACV Customized. Today I'm going to turn around and draw, well, we're going to do a how-to video today. We're going to do how to do a sketch on a Christmas tree. Okay, so let's get started. Let's see. Now of course you can turn and start in different ways. First thing, if you're using a pencil like this, which this is like a 2HB pencil, but if you're using pencils like these, make sure it's sharpened. Doesn't have to be like a perfect point. Let's see if I can get it to focus just a little so you can see. My point is not a perfect point on here, but you can, if you want, you can turn and get a little bit more on it to try and make it one. Make it a little bit of a sharper point. So let's see. Now you can start from either side. You can start at the roots area, you know. I say the roots. You can start at the base of it, the stump, and go up from there, or you can start from the top. So for this one, I'm going to start at the top. So let's see. Okay. I'm going to just do this. Now, when you're sketching a Christmas tree, you want to make sure that as you come down, it gets a little bit wider and a little bit wider. Now, depending on the size of the Christmas tree will depend. It does not have to be completely perfect as it's going down. You just want to make sure that it does spread out so that you can see. Okay, so let's see. Let's say, I think that that's the size I'm going to go with. You can go bigger. Well, you know what, might as well. Might as well go a little bigger. Ain't gonna hurt to have just a little bit bigger of a Christmas tree. There you go. Okay, so now we got the basics for it. All I did was do some lines going in sides, like angles like that. There was no particular angle. Okay, so now I'm gonna come right here. Okay, we're gonna turn around and make the base. Now I'm also going to turn around and do this. This is going to start making it look more three-dimensional, rounded. You're not just looking at a shape. Now, you're not just looking at lines going straight down, which, I mean, you can do it somewhat that way, but it's not a great idea. Okay. Now, as you can see, what I'm doing next is this. Creating these little lines to give it the three-dimensional look of a tree. And there are many ways to do this, so I've seen different ways of doing this, so this is just my way of drawing a Christmas tree. Okay. Now the more lines you add in, the more details, the more it starts looking like a tree, and the more detail you put into it. And you put in as much detail as you're wanting for your Christmas tree. If you want a little less lines, go ahead. Now, as you can tell, I'm not necessarily keeping my lines straight or all going in the exact same direction. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but if you've ever seen an actual tree growing out in the woods, the Christmas trees, because I'm sure some people who watch these might be living in a city. I'm sure you've seen I know you've got the regular Christmas trees that you buy at the store, but if for some reason you haven't seen some of the regular trees out in the woods, which maybe you have, I don't know, but in case you haven't, you're not going to actually, they're not going to be perfect lines every time in every place. Okay, so there you go. That right there, that kind of consists of the tree itself. Okay. See here, I'll bring it a little closer. Let's see if I can get it to focus just a little bit better. Well, that's not exactly what I intended, but hey. Give me a second. Let it readjust. So, okay, hang on one second, folks. I guess you could say I'm having technical difficulties, aren't I? It's okay. There we go. Got it to readjust now. So, there you go. We got the tree. This is the initial sketch. Now, you could try to say that this is going to be more of a live style tree. So let's try and make these be the stump. Now I'm doing this, and it's going to give a little more of texture and lines, and it's going to make it look more like the base of a tree. It's not going to be perfect necessarily. Well, actually, I guess it depends on how you look at it. So let's do that. Okay. So we got the base. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add like this. We're going to add a little bit of this look right here, so it's in the ground. There we go. And some of those lines can be little roots coming out from it, but either way, got that, and now it looks like it's in the ground. Even a little bit like snow. Let's just go across like that. Let's try and make that our line right there for the ground, or at least some of the ground. We're going to see. As you notice, my lines aren't all straight. They're not all going one direction. But what I'm wanting to do is give it a texture look. Now right there, it does look a little, but it really does. It's supposed to look more like a snowbank anyway. It's supposed to look a little bit like snow. Now, I'm gonna, right this second, we're just gonna put on a couple little bulbs. Giving the size of this, we're just gonna kind of make them small bulbs. We're not gonna do anything major. And we're not gonna overload it with bulbs either. Because we're not going to overload it with a whole bunch of bowls. Wouldn't be a good idea to do that. It'd be a Charlie Brown Christmas tree then. It would just fall over. Okay, so let's see. Let's put one right out there. Okay, now these are just simple circles. If you want something a little different, just do that. Now you may not see it, but the line, you just put a few little lines right there, and you put it like that, and you got a little candy cane right there. And put another one over here, put it in the opposite direction. And they don't have to be the same size. That's the good thing about it. They don't have to be the same size. And across a tree, it'll be in different angles, so even this right here, even though you might not think it looks completely like a candy cane, it is. You got one right there. It's just kind of leaning in more. So let's just say we're doing that. And of course, if you want to give it the appearance of like lighting, you just turn around and bring the little lines through here. And if you ever put lights on a Christmas tree, they're not going to all be in the same direction. Because you're going to go in different places. And they'll even have them counter. They come across one another too. Okay, where was I? Okay, so these little lines right here, these are for the Christmas. This is for the Christmas lights is what it's for. So we're going to put little tiny circles right here, or any angle, or basically whatever shape you want. Okay. This right there is supposed to show little light bulbs. So remember, a Christmas tree needs these. Okay. Now it may not look completely light, but see, you're also looking at a tree that's pretty large. You're standing a little bit off of it. So I'm making these bulbs a little bit bigger than you actually might would see. And I'm placing them in different areas, different directions. I've heard people talk about how you don't do it random, which is true. I guess you got patterns that you follow. But that's alright, that'll work. So, there we go. So I'd say that that's pretty good for the Christmas, little Christmas bulbs and all, and the Christmas lights. So, now let's just do this. Let's put a star on top. But since we're outside, I want to give it a different kind of a star. I want it to look, I don't want it to be the normal star that you'd see. I want it to be like this. So it basically just looks like you got this glowing light right off the top. When you do that, you actually give yourself the appearance of a light just shining away, just shining brightly. You could even do that right here if you wish to have them really show up. But you see with all these extra lines from the tree, that does make it a little difficult. Okay, so there's that, but you got all this white space back here because I'm using this white paper right here. Oh, and by the way, you can use whatever paper you want. Different papers do have different textures, but when you're sketching's a little different. You can pretty much use whatever paper you want. When you start getting into, if you want to do watercoloring or you're wanting to do painting, then you gotta turn around and really think about what paper you're going to use, because this right here is just sketch paper, and that's what it is. Here, let me see if I can pull it up for you. Hang on. Give me 1 second, folks. Putting the pencil down will help. Sorry, holding this with one hand. If I put the camera down, all you'll see is a black screen. There we go. See, I'm using this right here. Some sketch paper, Master's Touch. It's for writing and sketching, and it's good for dry medium. So, pencils and chalks and stuff of that nature, just the dry mediums. I do ink on this. Works pretty good, I think. Inks don't do too bad on it. Unless you're turning around and doing like a painting style inking, then it will. If you're using the pens, even the brush nib pen, ink pen, you're okay. But if you start going into like actual paintbrush with ink, yeah, it's okay, but it's probably going to start messing with the paper, because the paper itself is not that thick. It's a pretty thin piece of paper right here. I don't know if you can tell exactly how thin that is on the camera, but it is pretty thin. But it's good for what I'm doing. Okay, but since we got all this open space here, let's put in. When you're outside, I like adding in some clouds and stuff. And I mean, even at night, you can add in clouds. But I'm not going to go with the idea that this is necessarily a nighttime picture. You can. But it could be daytime, and it could be just a very bright light on top. And then when if you're wanting to do a little bit of something for the background, just do this. Watch what I'm doing right here. You do this, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be lines. Go thick through them right here. Now I could put a mountain behind this tree or whatever, but I want to make this appear to be, it's cold outside, it's winter time, you got snow on the ground. You could put almost anything you want. But what I'm doing is I'm giving, and then you just come in here and you put a little extra lines in. You can put dots in, probably whatever you want. But what I'm doing, if you notice, is giving more of a background, like there's little excess trees back there. all off in the distance, and they're kind of being covered with almost a little bit of a shade of probably fog or mist. You know, it's cold outside, so it can do that. If you're out in the woods, you can turn around at distance, depending on if it's snowing currently at that time, or if it just finished, or if there's just enough clouds over the sunlight and all. It can give you the illusion of a mist. Well, I say an illusion. When you're drawing it, it's an illusion. When you're out in it, it's not. But that's what I'm doing. I'm just giving myself a little bit of a nice look. You can even turn, I mean, honestly, you could even black it out if you wanted, but don't want to do that. Then I'm going to go back there. I'm going to do these little kind of like squiggly lines. These squiggly lines are going to make it look like it's on a slightly different plane, but it's the ground. Doesn't matter. Oh, sorry. Squiggly lines. There you go. Either way, I did the squiggly lines, and I did the straight up and downs, and then I did the extra dashes. There you go. I'm sorry about the fact that I was up above where I was working. Like I said, I don't look at the camera when I'm filming all the time. And then I'm going to put a few extra little shapes right here into the clouds to give them a little bit more of a three-dimensional image. There you go. So I'm honestly going to call this picture finished. This is how you draw a Christmas tree. Now, I gave it an outside background. You could do inside. You can do it however you want. You could put it in a room. The whole point of it was to do this. Now, when you're looking at it, you could, if you really need to, you can darken up a little bit like right here. This is what I'll do. I noticed that it looks a little, it doesn't stand out as well as it should across the background. So if you want to change that or fix that, and it doesn't matter if you cover a few little light bulbs and stuff. It's not going to hurt anything. There you go. There you go. There you go. Now it stands out a little bit better. So you could black out the back. In all honesty, if you're using inks or something, you could just black this out and leave little patches of light in between. However you want to do it. But I think I'm going to call it Merry Christmas. If the video comes out on Christmas, or it comes out around Christmas, Merry Christmas. This video could come out after. I'm not sure yet which way. But this is how you do it. So let's sign this and we'll get ourselves going on to other things. And of course, the date today is December. And give me 1 second, folks. I did look at the dates. Yeah, there you go. December 2nd, 2024. There you go, folks. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And I pray the Lord will help you in the ways that you need. And, well, and just, well, let's just say that you got people praying for people. Hope y'all have a good day. Merry Christmas.